What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Cryptographics. And today we're going to be going into this whole world of decentralization that has kind of found itself being placed upon the Richard Heart ecosystem, which is HEX, PulseChain, PulseX. And we're going to dive in deep. We're going to understand what the heck's going on, some maybe more simple options. And I have an expert here who's been on the channel, I think a couple times now, 2 times, but he's no stranger. And I'd like you guys to help me welcome him up here. My man, RH Max, welcome back to the channel. How you doing, man? Good to see you again.
Good to see you too, man. Good to see you. Doing well. Just navigating this wild world of greatest ecosystem on earth that we just can't stop having fun in. It's too fun, man. We're winning too hard right now. Too hard winning.
I love that. I love your enthusiasm, man. Well,
constant.
It's exactly. And so let's get right into it. So I'm going to bring up a Richard Heart tweet real quick. And guys, so this is kind of the case of what we're doing the video on today. I guess it was a week ago or something about one of those lines. It was almost 2 weeks ago, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong on the dates. But we had Richard Heart begin to start tweeting out basically verbatim this tweet here, but you'd have the HEX front end, PulseChain, PulseX, all these apps that we use to access HEX, PulseChain, the different fronts of, or the different access points or purposes for PulseChain, as well as the PulseX exchange. And verbatim basically was great news. In this case, app.pulsex.com is a list of links to ways you can run your PulseX code, like zip files, IPFS, and more. Unstoppable, decentralized, peer-to-peer open source revolution. You are the network. No middlemen. Now, if I go ahead and I click on this, and I don't know if it's going to bring up the, yeah, okay, I just got to switch tabs again. Let me just switch around one more time, because you guys are all super familiar with the old PulseX window that we're all used to. Instead, though, this is what we find ourselves in front of. So what happened here, and why am I looking at this screen? What's going on here, Max?
This is your PulseX update. I thought everyone wanted PulseX updates. Are you not entertained? This is not what you wanted? Yeah, so this has been what I guess Richard Devs and otherwise have been working on. This is PulseX is like the third or fourth one to come out. First it was the bridge and the go.hex.com, and that was like a whole big thing. And then we were just warming up apparently, because then we went on to PulseX and we went on to the Launchpad for validators, and then even the Block Explorer. So yeah, you're looking at a list, just as Richard said, a list of links to run your own code. You've always been running your own code before for products in a lot of different ways, but now you have 2 options to use PulseX. You can use the IPFS link, which is literally just, I'm going to do a video on this to explain more about IPFS and like how to deploy projects and stuff like that on there. But it's basically just the code, the same code that was being hosted before, the same code that's you can run on your desktop and stuff. It's just on running on a decentralized website, basically a decentralized network of servers and nodes and stuff. A lot of people have said, think of it like BitTorrent, where you can't just they can't just go down and shut down a website, shut down a front end. So we're more shutdown proof in that way too, with all these apps. And yeah, the hash you see there, that just maps to the version that is being deployed. So you see IPFS, and then right above it, v102. So there's, going to be probably, there was versions before that. There's going to be versions after that. And every time a new version is deployed, that hash will change, because it's a unique identifier, just like it is in every other part of cryptocurrency and cryptography. It is just a way of uniquely identifying code or resource or otherwise. So that's what the hash maps to.
So, and let's pause there real quick, because I want to save a little more of the technical talk for a little bit later, so we can kind of, baby step our way into this. Because there's a lot going on, and we start talking about hash, and we start even for some people, that are going to watch this video because they are curious about, what happened to the front end. I want them to be able to watch this video and really get into it and understand right off the bat. So let's even just start with these links. So these 3 links, do we know where they came from? We know where they go. Like ultimately, guys, if we click this link here, and then I have to share this tab instead, then it does bring you to the PulseX front end, right? But this is what you're going to see now instead of the original PulseX direct to the application. So what you're getting into there was interesting. I want to understand here, when people are looking at this, what really is like, what gives the ability for these links to be accessed, and using IPFS specifically in simplistic terms, like why are we using, I guess, this here?
We're using it because the devs, Richard, whoever they don't want to host the front ends anymore. So instead of hosting the front ends, they're saying, okay, there's this decentralized way that people can access the front ends. So let's just upload the code there. And then now everyone could just use that. And now that comes with, and I'm sure we'll get into it, a whole can of worms of, okay, now there's not this centralized place that I can look at the URL bar and see that I feel safe interacting with. That's a whole thing that I've been working on as well. But that was the decision. Ruthless decentralization. This is clearly, we can talk about the onboarding aspects of it too that have been talked about, but it is completely and utterly prioritizing decentralization over everything else. So you're not going to be able to go to app.pulsex.com and do your trading because it's not hosted there. It's just a list of links. You click on one of those, that fires up, you get the data from IPFS node that's delivering it, just a decentralized website, and now you get to interact, do everything completely on your own. No one's holding your keys or anything, just like before.
Exactly, and I do think from a decentralization perspective, this is pretty cool. Like, I don't think I've ever heard of anything quite like this happening for any ecosystem, really. I mean, I'm not the best to ask on that front because I haven't spent a lot of time in many other ecosystems, but just off the cuff, like I haven't. And I think this is really cool in terms of, longevity and SEC proofing this, this ecosystem. And it is impressive that it's come this far. And really, like we were talking about off screen, it's like, it is still fairly simple. Like I'll show you. When you come here, if you ignore the IPFS, all this stuff here, and you just think about it as, what do I have to do to still trade on PulseX? And stay to the end of the stream, guys, because RH has a special announcement I want you guys to all be here for, because it's awesome. And you guys got to stick around for this. So stay till the end and you won't regret it. But back to this here. We clicked on the first one here. If we click on the second one, nftstorage.link, we're going to go to the same thing. And as you can see, you click any of these three, and essentially you're going to go to the PulseX website. Now, if we were to go to go.hex.com, we're going to find the same thing, right? If we go to PulseChain, and just to show you here, if we go to this guy here, which is now the hex.com app, we're basically still connecting to this. So realistically, if you're still familiar to this ecosystem, if this isn't brand new to you, this is going to be no problem for you to navigate, as long as you just understand that these are basically portals to the app. These are just decentralized versions of them. And the next thing that's interesting here is that you can run these from your desktop. So now this isn't something I have done for myself, but I'd love to find out from you, Max, like what goes into something like this? What is it actually? Is it like an application, like, you're opening Microsoft Word or something like that, and you're just running it on your computer? How does this all work if you were to choose to do something like running it from your desktop?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you're opening a link. So the link won't be from IPFS. It will be a link that is listing on your local computer. So the difference, so if you click on IPFS link, it'll go to that link. It'll go to that site that's hosting it, decentralized, all that stuff. If you download any of these on your computer, I've tested on Mac, for example, it'll just give you a program, and maybe it's packaged different ways. Maybe one's exe, the other's like a script or whatever. They all work the same way. They just start this little server on your computer. You run your own PulseX server, literally, and then it'll pop up a window, and it'll just, instead of saying like, random long link, hash, whatever, .ipfs.link or whatever, it'll say localhost on a certain port. And a port is just like a way of communicating in different ways on the computer. So yeah, you still get a link. You still using a browser. It works exactly the same way, except you are running the server. Instead of the decentralized node, you accessing that over the internet, you're running your own server locally on your computer. No one else can access it unless you jump through a bunch of hoops and make them able to do that. just for your own personal computer use, and you can interact with the blockchain that way, as long as you have internet connection, obviously. But it's just accessing your local computer, and then need the internet to talk to the blockchain and all that stuff.
That's actually so cool. I think as far as tools, because here's the thing, is that we're in terms of a global, we call it, yeah, I guess the macroeconomic side of things, the macro government side of things, regulations worldwide, we're at an interesting time. Things are shifting in an interesting direction. And I think if you are, up on what's been going on over the past maybe decade or even two, and kind of how things, many decades, it's all been from way, way back. It's all been going the same direction. But if you are noticing, or even if you're just coming into this now, you can see a pattern, and there's going to be more regulation coming. And when that happens, you might not agree with the regulation. You might, but you might not. And if you don't, this is a way that you can actually keep control, have a little bit of sovereignty still with your decisions, your choices, and be able to interact with what you want on these blockchain financial systems without having to worry about it being controlled. And I think that's an amazing tool to have at your disposal. Whether you use it or not is obviously up to you, but to have this here, I think is awesome. And I appreciate it. And I think that, there's drawbacks to everything, but there's also pluses when you make correct decisions. Like we've talked about, I think in previous streams, I think on your channel, actually, trade-offs, right? There's a trade-off to everything. And yes, from an onboarding perspective, I do think there's going to be a little bit of a hit in some way. Like maybe it's small, maybe it's big. We'll see. Time will tell. None of us have the answers right now. It's likely that there's some impact to a degree, whatever degree that is. I think that the trade-offs long-term could actually be far more beneficial when regulation comes down and all sorts of stuff starts to happen where it gets harder to get into crypto in the long term. What do you have to say on that front? Like, do you think that the short-term, long-term game is absolutely worth it? Do you think that the game is being played right here in terms of where everything is going with the regulations wise? All that. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Anything else you had to share on that front?
Oh yeah. I mean, if we're going to brand ourselves the ecosystem of freedom, what epitomizes that more than being like, oh, regulations here, regulations there. Oh, people say people's doing work for other people. No, it's not, because you can clearly look and see there's no one doing work for anyone. There never has been, but especially now, you couldn't even point to anything like that. So the self-sovereignty part is important. Again, we don't know what we're going to see with regulation otherwise coming up, but I can clearly imagine some hopefully not, but some BS regulations or whatever come around, and we see Richard and everyone tweeting out not only HEX not affected, PulseChain not affected, because we have made this huge leap to go to decentralization. Literally, even the block explorer, I was like, I could see the bridge, I could see all the dApps, PulseX, maybe all that stuff. And now we're doing the block explorer. It's literally like, hey, this is the ecosystem of decentralization, true DeFi, real DeFi, as our friend Somi talks about as well. So big step. Now, with big steps come big growing pains, big ability to zoom out and be like, hey, does everyone else get this? Because I don't think they do. I think, first of all, our own community has been struggling to figure out what HiPFS is. And finally, we're coming around, you, me, and everyone else is like educating them, like, hey, here's how this works. Here's how to use it. All the features are still there. All that's good. However, we need to onboard more people than are already here. Like, onboarding means you get new people to come in, and new people coming in, they may not have the same ideals or understanding or technical ability or just able to wrap their head around. There isn't this clean URL they've been taught over and over and over to trust that says, this is not trouble, this is not scam, this is not going to get me in a mess, this is not going to drain my wallet. After that happens to people all the time for many different reasons, including interacting with weird looking websites. It comes back to, I think it's hard for the community too, because we've been in the weeds so much. It's really hard to zoom out and be like, what is a new person experience this coming in? What do they see? What do they need? How do you create the least friction possible? So clearly, this change, decentralization, boom, good, landing page, great, set us up for the future. But now, once we're here, how would you onboard somebody? How would you tell somebody, hey, come? Like, would you just give them? I've heard people talk about, nobody uses PulseX, when they go in the ecosystem to get the best deal on trading, they use Pitius or something else. You know, how would you even onboard someone right now when you give them a link? And again, everything in their, even me, my spidey sense is like, hey, am I going to put $1 million on this link that, oh, it's IPFS. What does that mean? How does that tell me anything's good? Like, how do I know, you know, everything's safe here? This big change happened. Again, investors, I don't think they like big changes. And if they are okay with big changes, they want assurances. They want security. They want to make sure, hey, they don't want to be first. Maybe they don't want to be first. They don't want to be the ones experimenting with this stuff. They just want it to work and get ROI and stuff on their investments. So yeah, that's what I ask you too, is like, how do you, when you're bringing people in now, I know, you know, we'll talk about a little bit later about how I'm trying to help bring people in, but how do you do it? And now that you've seen these big changes?
Yeah, it's difficult. And you raised this is such a good point. You know, like people are going to come to these sites. Like you got to imagine, and you brought this up actually before we came on, is like, and I'll put it in the way of, imagine your grandma comes on here and instead of going to go to hex.com, she now has this website. Well, she's either going to call you and be like, what the hell am I looking at? Or she's going to get frazzled if she's doing it on her own because you just were guiding it to her, and she's going to walk away because she doesn't know there's so much going on here. I mean, and I think we need to understand that this is going to be something that's going to be a wall for a lot of people. Like simplicity is key for a lot of these things. And we don't have simplicity. It's so easy for people to get pushed away if they're, you know, trying to just, you know, maybe they're not already investors. They want to try it out, right? Like think about new products, right? If a new product comes on the market and it becomes too difficult or something changes, it'll get abandoned real quick. It could be the best technology, right? But if things get too difficult to operate, right, then it just becomes a nightmare and people kind of walk away. You know, they go to something else that maybe isn't a superior product, but people end up going somewhere else. That being said, though, this is like the initial phase of this right now. And I would even go out on a limb and say that, as Danny Boy is talking about here, there's a lot of access points that are already coming up, right? So while this is like the lay of the land at the moment, this isn't going to be permanent. This is actually already being alleviated. And what we're going to bring up later is another form of that as well. But
I just want to speak to this one too real quick. I think that's a common point that a lot of people bring up is, we have all the community sites. Again, I've created several community sites as well, as if that helps anyone like get onto this easier. There's a whole can of worms opens with that too. Which ones do you trust? Do you trust people by their reputation? Do you trust people by the code? Do you trust the hash yourself? Now you got to get people checking on this stuff. So I think that, of course, we have community sites being built. I'm building a few of them. Other people have too, but that doesn't help. That is only one small piece of the onboarding. And again, I know that's so hard to see for people who've been in this ecosystem. They know how to click all the buttons. They're fast. They get it really quickly. But for new people coming in, there's an obvious change in from them going to hex.com and then saying, okay, I want to stake and stuff. Let's go to hex.com, and then getting that experience versus they go to hex.com. Okay, cool. I got it. I'm going to go stake it. They go to hex.com and it's just a bunch of links and download the desktop. And they're like, if I was a new person, I wouldn't want to do that. I feel like if I didn't have literally a friend or someone like walking me through it, I would just be like, no, I'm going to go buy Cardano. I'm just going to like, nobody else does this stuff. Like, why would I put in an extra effort to get through this? And then you could say, well, they don't deserve it. Well, we don't even know if they deserve it or not, because we can't even get them to the ecosystem first. So like, the whole point of, you know, it's only one more click, or it's 2 clicks, or whatever it is. My response to that is always, why don't there need to be any more clicks? Why can't we just have like any point of friction? If we can remove it, it should be removed, because every extra click, that is the chance for them to click away, not click into. Like that's just like onboarding. That's just flow. That's just sales. I mean, that's the whole process of getting people to do something, is make it as simple as possible. So especially, it's not just 2 more clicks or 1 more click or whatever it is. It is getting them to a page where they don't understand anything that's going on, and getting them to hopefully make the right decision or spend enough time to even do that. So I was talking on stream yesterday about what I would change. So we're looking at the site now. If you scroll up a little bit, I can talk a little bit more about like what what I hope changes on this, because I think it would make the most difference. I think it would be much, much better. And again, like you said, this stuff just rolled out. So this is the way it's supposed to look at this point. It's only like 2 days old. So this is the way it's supposed to look. So for nerds, amazing, love it. For anyone else, for onboarding new people, there needs to be one link. If I were going to do this, I would do, there's one link. None of this stuff is on the page. There's one link that says launch PulseX. That's it. One link says launch PulseX. And that PulseX link, pick one of the IPFS links, whatever, DWeb, NFT storage, 3WS or W3S, whatever, just pick one and make that button, the same looking button, make it go to one of those links. Nobody cares about DWeb link. Nobody cares, but they don't need to know about running from their desktop. And then have another tab. So again, this entire page, keep the PulseX, keep the decentralization, robustness, privacy core, all the green stuff. Remove from the version number down, remove all of that. Put one button that says launch PulseX with a little up arrow, and then have a little tab. Have a three tab system or whatever. And if you click that and it says advanced or learn more or nerd options or whatever it is, then once you click that button, it shows you this page. And all the people who already know how to do all this stuff, they're happy. And all the people who don't know how to do all this stuff, they don't need to see IPFS, hashes, all that stuff. They don't need to see any of that. They just click one button and go. That's how I would do it. That creates the least amount of friction. It still is a landing page, except there's a clear place for people to go. And everyone else familiar in crypto, that already feels good. That feels like a thing, right? You go to a page and you click another button and that launches the app. That happens all the time in crypto. So why not here? Why can't we do that most frictionless way possible? And I think it will happen, but it hasn't happened yet.
100%. Ideally that, and what I'm kind of realizing is I'm hearing you speak about this and I'm seeing the comments. I think that this is very important to just have a conversation around and to allow all the possible points that everyone can think of to come up, because the more we talk about this, the more we're going to troubleshoot, the more we're going to figure out, within the community. And of course, going back to the core, if this was from pulsex.com, pulsechain.com, hex.com, straight there, ideal, best case scenario. But if it's not, we don't know how long this is going to last. David brings up an interesting point here. And I mean, in his perspective, he said, did this clearly, but we could even just say he could have, and you can speculate as much as you want, but just to keep kind of like neutrality here, Richard did this clearly because of the SEC, not to have any arguments on him when it comes to expectations. Some guys should do direct site that be operated voluntarily on, but not from Richard Hart. And I think that's an interesting thing to think about, because obviously, if you're decentralized, the SEC can't come after something necessarily that is as decentralized as it can be. So there's just the reason I'm bringing that up too is because maybe this is temporary, but maybe this is the way it's going to be in the future. And I think just having this conversation and being able to put everything on the table is going to lead to the solutions, and maybe right now there's a problem, right? Because that's why we're here. That's why we're talking about it. That's why we're streaming right now. That's why everyone's in the chat making comments about, what they think is best. And we're going to get there, and here's the thing too. Yes, we need to onboard people. But if you look at the chart right now, the chart itself is a big onboarding tool, and we're in a bear market. A lot of things are still going down. It's very hard to onboard in a bear market anyways. Like you talked, like I'm sure most people that you and I could bring up here would say, because Bitcoin's not going up, Ethereum's not going up, and our ecosystem's not going up right now, most people that even try to talk to you about crypto, most people are just like, yeah, but it's still going down. And it's like, it's just like, no, right? It's no's from people right now. So, maybe this is the best time actually to have this happen, when onboarding is the most difficult and we can work through all these issues, figure out the best way to get this done in a streamlined, easy way. So onboarding when the bull run comes, which it could be longer than we expect still, who knows? We're expecting that, obviously we know the Bitcoin halving in April, but who knows? It could take longer. And so I'm just really happy that you're involved with this and, you're making tools and that this conversation is just being had. And so thank you for that.
Of course. I mean, that's what, again, have utility. That's what I started streaming for. That's why apparently I write websites now, whatever, like that, like anything to help us go forward. And you're totally right that this is not onboarding right now matters much less, which is again the genius of a lot of the stuff RH does. Everyone's like, where's single sign staking? Where's the new features? Where are limit orders? Where all this stuff? For me, my personal opinion is I don't care if they happen in 2023. Do we need like these like little tiny jolts that take us up 20% on PulseX when the new features come out in a not up only market, or do we want to wait till up only market where Big Brain or whoever's out there making these who's making updates and PulseX changes pushes out the updates and things go up 200%, 2000%. Like it's obvious that this stuff is not needed right now. This is the time to get through all the junk. This is the time to decentralize things. This is the time for onboarding to suck until it doesn't suck anymore. And like I said, I think the changes I talked about, I mean, I don't know why they wouldn't happen over time. I mean, clearly this is just the first rollout of, putting all the links there, making sure everyone has the information, get everyone used to this type of decentralized apps and stuff. So I totally think it'll be better in the future. But again, that's why we have these conversations, because it's if we were just like, oh yeah, everything's fine, 2 more clicks, it's all good. Like, what does that say about our ability to have discourse around changes in the community and to understand them and to zoom out? And again, not be an echo chamber, just to see how new people see this. I guarantee I almost want to try it. Like, I kind of want to do this. I want to take one of my friends who's not in crypto, and I want to be like, hey, can you go to this website and go do something, go trade on PulseX, just go try it out and to see where they get stuck. I guarantee this person I have in mind is just going to be like, no, I tried, but it didn't work, whatever. It's obvious, like that kind of thing. So, I think that's important. And also for comic relief in the private chat, because I'm not a mod, I couldn't post it. But if you look in the private chat, I have a link that proud of this meme I posted today, and Gerardo posted all caps, 1 more click, and I had to show him the other side of that.
Let's go. Yep. Maybe I'll just buy Litecoin with my neighbor. I like that.
Shouts Gerardo. You're awesome, man. You're awesome.
I love that.
Yeah. It made me think of, our friend Tommy always talks about his neighbor, loves Litecoin. And when he says Litecoin, he's like, gosh, I could be quiet. My neighbor will hear me and want to get all excited about it. So I mean, made me think of that. But that's seriously, I think it's an accurate depiction of like a person who wants to get into this. They're sold. You already told them about the idea, whatever. They go to the website and they're like, EXE, IPFS. None of those words make any sense. Are those even words? And then they're like, nah, I'm just not going to do this right now. So removing friction. That's what I think is most important for onboarding. I don't know what argument there is against that, honestly. Maybe timing, maybe you can see it differently and priorities and otherwise. But if you want to onboard people, you make it easy. That's like sales, that's marketing, that's everything 101.
100%. And I can appreciate this. The funny thing about memes is, there's always the truth involved. And I think it's great when these come out, because it makes everyone kind of have a common point where they can all laugh and be like, yeah, I can kind of see that. And another thing I want to go back to real quick before we get too far into this, I wanted to make sure that some of these guys got their questions answered specific to the desktop side of things. Let's see. So I think the first one was this guy here. Thanks, Archie, for the comment. Can you run the download links from a USB drive as well? Is that possible? How does that work?
I don't know why you wouldn't, because it's just it's a file. So if you download anywhere and put it on any drive that can run another file, should be able to. So I can't think any reason why you couldn't do that.
Right. Okay. So you just put on your USB stick, you just take it out, put it back in, run it whenever it's on, and then boom, you're interacting with the code that you want to interact with. It has
the package. So I think there's 2 points in this. One is, yes, the package has everything you need to run it. It has its own little, it's got all the software, all the dependencies, all the stuff there, as far as I can tell. So you can put it on a USB drive, you can download it to your desktop, whatever, run it. And 2, why would anyone want to do that? It sounds like a reason to, if you got your own crypto laptop or whatever that's disconnected, you don't want to use it. Now you want to access PulseX, or otherwise you don't want to use IPFS. You don't want to open a browser unless you're talking to your own computer. That might be a way to do it as well. So that's a scenario I can think of why you would do that in the first place.
Cool. Well, that's really good to know. Here's another one from Limp Noodle. Thank you for the comment. Which is safer, the link or the file? Or is there even a difference in terms of safety?
So the hash, you can check the hashes for both. So they're both essentially the same. They do have the same code. The hash is there for the IPFS. And then the checksums, if you scroll down to right below the last link from Run It From Your Desktop. So download checksums, yeah, that will, you look up what a checksum is, but it's kind of like a hash. You can compare it, make sure what you're downloading is the same as, what's there, what they've hosted.
Cool. Actually, on that note too, I meant to ask you this as well. So if we're on this site and for someone that is going to be using this, how does someone verify that the hash we see here, or the hash that is correct, is actually the correct hash on a front end? Like, how does someone go about verifying that?
So it's kind of tricky with this because maybe there's a different way, but the easiest way I can think of is, so if you click on the DWeb link, it'll take you to a site that doesn't include that. It looks differently. So that kind of sucks. I wish it was just easy like that. But if you right click and copy and paste the DWeb link into the browser, and if you could show the browser once you do that, I think that will show you the hash, because the hash kind of redirects to the DApp. So it's hard to verify unless you like copy and paste. Maybe there's another way to do it. But on screen, I can't see your URL bar. Could you show your URL bar?
Oh yeah, I think I can do that. One sec here. Let me just,
or put in a text file, either one.
Yeah, give me 1 second here. I'll open that right up. Let's go to window. And let's go to this guy here. So this is the URL you're talking about.
Yes. So Bathy or to you. So that's the URL. And if you right click the, not that URL, but if you go to the landing page and right click the DWeb button, yeah, right click that and then copy the link from that. It says copy link.
Yep.
And then paste that into your URL bar, but don't hit enter. Yeah. So if you look at that, so now you can see the hash.
Oh, I see. So could you do this for any, basically if you were to go and delete this and you go to right click and you go copy link address, paste it in here, QMR,
yep.
BGC. There you go. That's actually pretty simple. That's super simple. More or less.
One click, bro. One click. Just
one more click. Now we're up to 3.
It's one. I'm going to do a right click meme. One right click. Just one right click.
One right click. Well, that's actually really good to know, though, because I do think, it's really important, because, man, there's going to be I can see now there's going to be a lot of front ends coming up, a lot of people building stuff. And there's also opportunity for malicious actors to take advantage of, the opportunity, which sucks, but it's probably going to happen. So I think having a tool like this where you can easily verify, relatively speaking, what the hash is. And another question on that front, when it comes to this hash, do you have to verify every single letter or alphanumeric in here, or does it have to be kind of like an address where you can do like the first chunk and the last chunk for the most part, and you can pretty much know it's the same?
Yeah, I would think I've been treating it like an address. Like you would check the address before you send money to. You can check the whole thing, but I feel like it's analogous to the hashes, or the blockchain addresses and stuff we use. So I don't see any reason to check the entire thing. Of course, that's double security or something in case something. So like, why would that be important? That would be important if the first 4 and the last 4 were similar across different dApps, different front ends and stuff. Now, someone correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't seen that. Usually, I've seen maybe the first 4 or the first couple or whatever have been the same, but the last 4, with new versions and stuff coming out, I believe they've been changing each time. So that leads me to believe, it is an easy way to do it. Just check the first 4 and last 4, that type of thing. But yeah, if you want to be extra secure, of course, the whole thing.
That's really cool. Okay, well, that's awesome to know. Thank you for sharing that. I'm going to quickly just stop sharing my screen. And I think, or go ahead.
Before we go on to, I just wanted a couple comments in the chat, and also have been the same that I've seen people complain about gold key, worrying too much about it, or me or otherwise, about it's not that big a deal, or let's see, analysis paralysis, that type of thing of trying to solve the onboarding problem, which a lot of people don't think is one. first of all, I would say that's very hard to measure. It's very hard to say it wouldn't be a problem. Now, flip side of that is say, okay, I can't prove that it would be a problem. I can just go on, evidence of every other industry in the world and just a lot of just knowledge from onboarding and sales and marketing and that type of thing of it. So I'd rather err on the side of trying to solve problems or trying to reduce friction, even if it turns out that somehow people fought through all the extra clicks and they were like, oh, you know what? This is important. I'm going to go look up IPFS and learn this stuff. Like, out of the 1% of people I think are going to do that, if the 99% actually did that, I would err on the side of, hey, this could be something that could cause less people to buy our bags. Seems like a problem worth going to work on. Even if you wouldn't consider that a top priority, or you think people are worried about it too much or otherwise. So I don't see any. I think there's much more ROI making sure there's less friction than there would be not worrying about it. I'll say it like that.
Right. Making sure, there's more. There's more ROI, making sure there's less friction. Yeah, I would 100% agree with that. Of course.
Yeah. Instead of doing nothing, instead of saying, it's probably okay. There's a chance it's not. So if you can, why not go work on that?
Totally. And that's what you're doing. That's what a lot of people are doing. And I mean, obviously the least amount of friction would be the underlying core doing it. But if that can't be done, then, it is what it is. And speaking of that, I know we've been kind of alluding to it a few times. Would you like to drop the bomb now, or would you like to wait?
Let's do it. Let's
do it.
Bomb.
Okay. Give me 2 seconds here. So, wait, I had the link. I think you want me to just go right to the website?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so
I'm the website and we'll talk about it.
I'm going to drop a link in the chat here, guys, so you can follow along. Check this out. So my man, RH Max, has officially created the website here that I'm going to bring up on screen called gorealdefi.com. And this is I'm not going to spoil it. I'm going to let you have the full reins here. You explain everything as much as you want to. I don't want to take any of your glory away. All
right. Well, I don't think there's a whole lot of glory to be had here, except it is just another simple onboarding tool. So actually, I like some of the comments I get from and feedback I get on that I've gotten in the last week or so, launching the different websites. And again, if you're not familiar, basically there's 5 websites that are essentially websites within a website, a gateway. Richard said gateway the other day, so I'm like, I guess maybe they're gateways. We'll call them gateways to front ends instead of front ends themselves. So it just easily allows you to give someone a link and then use that link to transact with the DApp. Nothing in the middle, nothing going on. Is literally just website to website. I did tons of videos of how it works and how simple it is, how to verify it, all the security stuff too. But this website, I was about to say it went on for a second. This website allows you to just have a landing page. This is the landing page. This is the landing page for PulseChain apps, for the decentralized apps, the websites that have been stood up. You have the HEX one that goes to gohexapp.com. You have the PulseChain bridge one that goes to goplsbridge.com. It's just a nice, simple little page that you could send people instead of sending them to each one, because there's, we got a lot now. We got 5 different ones. There's probably going to have 6 if he does Otter, Block Explorer. Maybe there's 7 if there's some other one I can't remember or think of right now. So you just go here, you click on the link, you go do your business. Again, I did tons of videos of how it's safe, secure, legit. I posted hashes. Speaking of hashes, there's website hashes I've been posting on Twitter, so you can verify that, again, if you have a trusted source, a place to, that's been fun lately, by the way. Yeah. Everyone go to gopulsexapp.com. And if you see this red page, which you probably will if you're using Chrome, click on the report a detection problem, and then fill that out and submit the report and be like, not scam, not malicious. Apparently somebody reported that, and now it takes 10x the effort, to refute, because there's absolutely nothing malicious about it, obviously.
Gotta love that.
Yeah, that's fun. That was fun. Yeah, yesterday I was literally debuting it, and it happened. It was fine earlier in the day, and then it happened right there. I'm like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. But yeah, anyways, once you do that, it'll say, okay, it's not deceptive. Click it again. It'll let you go use it. But again, there's nothing. Click on one of them again, or go to one of the ones you clicked on, and then right click the page anywhere on the page and click view source like anywhere on the page, and view page source, view source, whatever.
Okay, let's not do that one yet. Okay, let's do this one here.
Yeah, either one.
Just for simplicity.
Yeah. And you can see 21 lines of code. And the only piece of code that matters is line 20, which says iframe. Iframe is it says, put this website on this website. All I'm saying is put that decentralized link that has this crazy URL that nobody wants to click on, put that on this website. And this website is literally just that code. All it says is show this person the other website. That's what it says. Show the person.
So it's a redirect, more or less.
It's a redirect with but you stay on the same place. You stay on the same place and the URL doesn't change, but you get to use the DApp. That's the only thing it is. Everything else, all the other code there is just making it fit pretty and look seamless and all that. The only line that matters is that link. And when I post the hashes of the websites, you can verify yourself. If you're going to the wrong place or it gets changed or hacked or whatever, the hash of the data will change. So I create hashes and I tell people on the tweet too exactly how to do it. Go create a hash of this code. If anything changes and I haven't updated it or otherwise, you'll know something's wrong. So not only can you check the IPFS hash, you can check the actual code hash to make sure the website hasn't changed too, as a feature of trying to make sure these sites are legit. A lot of people have been creating them. I can't speak for the security or otherwise of anyone else's, but I've been trying to go above and beyond to show people how to verify this stuff for yourself. Don't trust me. Don't trust my reputation. Don't trust me and my 300 streams or millions of viewers or all this stuff. Like, don't trust any of that stuff. It sounded like a humble brag. It really wasn't. I was just like, don't trust reputation. You don't need to trust me. Trust the ways I've given you to verify this stuff. And I got tweets that talk about like 5, 6, 7 different ways to do it. So I want people to know it's safe. I use it. I'm going to make it as safe as possible, and it's just the landing page is just a gateway to these front end gateways to let you use the site. And it solves 2 problems. One, you don't get the confusion of which IPFS link to click on when they go to the landing page now. And 2, you don't get the crazy URL like that may scare a lot of people away. So that's the 2 problems I aim to solve with the landing page for all the links and all the links that you see here.
Well, for one, I think that's one of the many reasons the community appreciates you and what you do so much is because you're so willing to like put this out and educate on this topic, and it's so needed. So like, thank you for that. And 2, I mean, it's just simple. Like if we go to the launchpad here, go realdefi.com and just click where you want to go. And I'm sure the PulseX side will not say this soon. It's just obviously because of our frenemy, I guess.
Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah.
Other ones are fine, knock on wood.
Yeah, exactly. But basically everything is just right here. And all the other tools still work. Like Icosa, the app.icosa.pro still works. There's hexcrypto.com. There's all sorts of other applications that still work for, let's say, like even HEX, right? So if you're using those, like this is to go to the core, to the original RH developed style applications. And I think it's just super simple. I think awesome job. Thank you for building it. I'm going to be using this on most of my streams and just the easy or for onboarding or guiding people into the ecosystem. I mean, this is just the easiest way to do it. So thank you for building this, man.
Of course. Appreciate that. GoRealDefi.com.
GoRealDefi.com.
The guy who's been popularizing.
What's that?
I said, shout out to our friend Somi. He's been popularizing PulseChain's Real DeFi, HEX's Real DeFi. He says it all the time. It's ingrained it into the ecosystem. So I thought GoRealDefi.com would be a good place to do it.
Mm-hmm. No, I think that's perfect, man. Very, very, very well done. Is there anything else? I guess we could go a little deeper here, but I guess due to time, anything else you got on the decentralization front or on the kind of the topic we're on today before we wrap up?
I think we covered a lot of the topics, people's feelings for and against it. It's a complicated thing because it's, even for me, it's not, the debate that Goldkey and Katie had was, should it be decentralized or not? And I took away from that it should be, but we got to fix the onboarding part that needs to be either community driven or Oh, nice fast. My my earphone went out for a second. I was like, "Are you pointing down for I'm on mute or something?"
Oh,
Um,
he's
yeah,
super subtle. Yeah.
excellent timing. Yeah, excellent. No, if the thing I took away from that is decentralization, but you got this comes from with the obvious onboarding thing. Like that's the thing. It's up to the community. Like we can fix it, right? If unless RH gives control of the URLs, the official domains to the community, which maybe you will, maybe you won't. I'm not counting on it. Then we got to go create our own. Like that's how you do it. That's like if you're trying to provide utility for the community. I can't think of, I don't know any other way to do it than to look at something you think can be better and then use the knowledge you have, use the GPT you have access to, use whatever you have to be like, how can I go make something to make this easier? And for me, it's just natural. Like I'm a natural problem solver. I've been my whole life is like, hey, I see something, go make something, go do something for it, go produce something. So yeah, I never thought I'd be like making websites. Not that I've launched even more than those websites. I launched plsnow.net, which is like a live DEX transaction deal, which I like too. But I just see things that are either interesting, piques my curiosity, or otherwise I think the community could use. I go make it. I go make it happen. And I hope, just as I was inspired to do that, just as Richard said back in the day, you go do the work, right? You want to see it happen, you go do the work. Have utility. That's what you can do to help the community. Just as I was inspired, I hope this inspires other people to do that as well. And to again, another quote, we will win. Like we're already winning and we're going to continue to win. But we're not going to do it when, nobody, like everyone sits around and expects someone else to do the work. Like I take initiative and I hope everyone else out there, they see problems, they come across to take initiative too. And everyone's got their skills. I happen to be, good at security and a lot of other things, and that just directly translates and making me very effective when I'm going to build stuff like this or otherwise. It needs to be, knock on wood, nothing's perfect, but I don't. I try to do my best practices there and stuff too. So my takeaway from the whole decentralization is seriously, you go do the work. No one's doing it for you. You mint your own coins. You make your own websites. Nobody's doing it for you, and that's the way it should be. We're just not used to it yet.
I think that's a great take. And again, I appreciate your perspective on that. And I hope that whoever needs to hear this, because I'm going to post some clips, we'll get this all chopped up and over Twitter and on maybe the YouTube shorts and everything like that. We'll get the people that need to hear that message, the inspiration that they need to get going. Because I think you're right. I think, it's time to build. And I don't know how to build, so that probably ain't going to be me. But, I can help with the game theory stuff. And maybe I am, maybe I'm not already. We'll see. But there's everyone can put in the work. Maybe I'm just a streamer. Everyone's got their utility, and the more we figure out our individual utility and then we utilize it, I think the better this ecosystem is going to become. And even though we're kind of in a bit of a lull, and we've got this decentralization going on, I think there's a lot to look forward to in the future. We've got a lot of time before the green candle season arrives. We still got months away, most likely. So if that is the case, well, this is the build time. This is the time, to lock ourselves in the shed and just build away and figure out how to make sure that by the time we get to the point we are all waiting for, that we're ready, So hats off to you, my man. Thank you for building what you have. I'm going to put this up on everywhere that I can, so that way everyone has easy access to it. And if you guys haven't already, I don't know how you haven't, but please go follow Max on Twitter, go follow him or subscribe to him on YouTube to make sure, because he's streaming all the time. He has so much content that he's always releasing, clips, interviews. He interviews a wide array of different types of products and people on his channel, and all super amazing discussions. I highly recommend you guys, if you aren't already for some strange reason, all the links are in the description below. Go do that right away and give this man some love, and make sure you give yourself some knowledge by following him too, because that's what it's all about, is educating yourself. So without further ado, man.
Hey, don't sell yourself short either. I mean, I think you've inspired me a lot. Like especially earlier when you were doing all the Hedron Icosa game theory stuff, I was like, man, graphics is putting out some stuff. Like I need to do better. I need to have you more. I think we all really inspire each other, and you're one of the people who've done a ton for the community. I can't wait to see what you do next. Like seriously, like don't undersell yourself. You know where to you have a hammer and you see a lot of nails, and you've been pounding them, man. You've been pounding them. So we appreciate you.
Appreciate that, man. And we're in there's a lot of positive feedback loops within and socially within the system, and I think that's how it all works. One person gets excited and drives another person to do other things. And I think that's what's also exciting about this ecosystem is we have kind of that social system built on positive feedback loops. So the more someone pushes someone else up, the more they're inspired to do something, which inspires someone else, which, the snowball just keeps growing and growing. So I think the future looks bright for this ecosystem, for our community, for everything. And I am super excited to watch this all grow. So thank you so much for being here. I'm so glad we finally got to stream again. It's been way too long. I know my setup's been all over the map and still probably going to be over the next while, but when I can, we'll definitely be getting on together more. And I'd love to do more streaming, more content. And guys, everyone in the chat, thank you all for being here today. It's about 100 of you here at one point checking this out. So thank you. I hope you all have a great day. Any closing thoughts or anything else that you have for us there, my man?
I think that's it. I think I'm going to go maybe make a few tweaks to the website. Wait on the next one. I don't know if it's Otter or if it's something else, but I know there's another one coming. So there's space on there. There's only 5 there now. I'm pretty sure there'll be 6. And if you have any feedback for the website, again, at RHMaximus on Twitter, just at me and give me your feedback. Or otherwise, I'm not trying. I saw Briss or somebody said you should add some stuff to compete with GoPulse. I'm like, no, I'm absolutely not competing with GoPulse. PLSnow.net does not compete with Deck Screener. I do not want to do that. I want to find a niche and like excel at that. I'm not trying to be a one-stop shop, but I do want to be a landing pad that can get people to the right place and where they're going with the PulseChain. But yeah, I appreciate if you have any good feedback or otherwise, let me know. And yeah, I got a lot of streams coming up next week. So if you're on the channel, we got some content coming up.
All right, guys, you heard the man. Go to his channel, get ready for the streams next week, give him feedback, let him know what you think about it. Have an awesome day. Thank you guys all for being here. Thank you, Max, for coming on the stream. And guys, we'll see you as soon as I can, and watch out for the clips from the stream as well. Peace, and have a wonderful rest of your weekend or beginning to your week if you are somewhere else in the world that is now Monday. So see you guys very soon.